All right, so basically it's a 24 channel board. Each row is a channel, and each corresponding fader, everything in one line lines up with that particular instrument. So since the lapel mic's up and running, we'll use that. At the top, obviously at the very top, this is where your microphone was plugged in at. So somewhere in the building, the microphone is plugged in from the receiver into the jack that's mounted on the wall or wherever it is, and it feeds back to here. So that's your input. This is your preamp gain that determines how sensitive the microphone is or how loud it's going to be.
Okay.
So you adjust that to get where it's you get to a pretty reasonable level. Usually either you can start at the 0. You'll see a 0, and if that doesn't work, just keep going up until it's at a decent volume. Try to keep all your faders at unity, which is also 0.
Okay.
While you're getting your levels.
Okay.
Because if it's down here, obviously you're gonna try to compensate, and you end up cranking it up, and
Right.
you get feedback. Right.
Yeah.
So just so it all remains constant, it's just best to kind of just start
0 as a
here.
starting point. Yeah.
Yeah, 0. Some people like to do it at -10 and open it up more. Either way, I would say be conservative with it just to avoid distractions and feedback. And like I said earlier, the 100 hertz roll off, that basically takes all the
Lows.
frequencies 100 hertz and below and shoves and
Which is all
takes
your
them out.
lows. It's
Yeah, it's all your
it's a
low
low
end.
pass filter.
So if you're doing a vocal or anything besides a bass instrument, you would want to have this pressed in
Okay.
to make sure you shave off all that low end, because all it does is create the possibility for feedback or weird stuff. All right, the EQ section is a 3-band parametric EQ, which means the frequency of your mid-range is selectable by the black knob.
And that's the little ball on the line. This is for our own remembering.
Yes.
Okay.
So now your highs and your lows are already at a fixed frequency, so that's just predetermined by the company when they make the board. Looks like it says 12 hertz. That's where or 12 kilohertz, and this one's at 80. So
Okay.
that's what you're adjusting when you adjust the highs and lows, 12 and 80.
Okay.
Now the mids, you just pick your frequency.
Okay.
Okay, a good starting point, straight up and down. Usually that's pretty much a good way to start. If it's just things are all going crazy and you can't figure it out, usually trimming back the highs will get rid of any feedback that might be going on. Let's see if we can get some going here. See, like that. Turn the highs down.
That's pretty great.
See, I was always going to turn the pink ones or red ones down.
Right, and that does it too.
But that's going to bring your whole volume.
sound, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
So-
what I need to do on that piano.
Right. So yes.
We're going to get that
exactly.
thing sounding good today. Bob.
So okay, so that's with the lapel mic. Now some microphones, if they don't have their own power supply, they'll use phantom power, which on this board it looks like it's already pressed in and it's right here. So if you're ever running into a problem, you've swapped out cables and microphones and it's still not working, or channels and it's still not
So
working.
the phantom power. Okay.
Make sure
Yeah. It
phantom
says
power's on. It can stay on.
like some of those microphones that I have, the reason why they just picked up and worked is because that was pressed in. If it wasn't pressed in, a lot of
It
my
would not
microphones
work.
wouldn't work.
Which
They need
ones?
power. This is phantom
Phantom
power.
power.
And you're going to need that probably for all of our condenser mics that we get. They all take phantom power, or they won't work.
Okay, and so we were just getting to the auxes, which these are like little outputs. They can go to different speakers somewhere. They can go to different they can go to monitors for your musicians on stage.
But we don't know what they go to right
We're
now.
gonna figure that out. So just like your main output, which is over here, these are just 4 additional outputs that you have the option of routing anywhere in the room.
Okay.
So, I think what we're gonna end up doing is having for your monitors on stage. So like this, let's say that's the piano player's monitor, and she needs more piano in her monitor. Well, you go to the piano channel, you go to aux 1, and you turn it up. And that should give her more piano.
Okay.
Now, I
Now-
know what she said. She
That is so cool.
Now, I see these labeled yellow, red, green, those are the 58s?
Yeah, those are the
Okay.
58s, yeah.
So let's say the guy with the red one, or let's say the same piano player needs more of that guy. So you're going to, basically, we would have to go to aux 1 and turn, because that's going to her piano wedge, and turn him up on aux 1.
Okay.
So aux 1 would be her mix.
Yeah, so we can do like a little label and go like
Right, I'll put on-
aux
yeah,
1,
we
right
put-
speaker, well, you know.
Right, we
I
could
think
put.
they both.
They might be controlled
know,
the
I
same
think
thing.
they're
Yeah,
different.
sometimes.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's. So, I would just put piano and organ mix, which might not be too comfortable for them. They're just gonna have to agree on something, because one of them might want more of something the other one doesn't necessarily want.
So it would be better if we could get those individualized, like each one have its own mix if they wanted it.
Ideally, yeah. Because the organ is such a direct instrument, it's gonna be loud, probably. So I'm sure the piano player may not want all that organ
Yeah.
in her thing. So I don't know. That's something we'll figure out. Now these choir mics that are overhead, those will probably they probably will have a tendency to feedback. They also you're gonna want that 100
pass.
hertz off, because that'll just create a rumble, or if there's any wind blowing on them, it creates noise. So that one, I'd be careful with this one. Obviously it's not gonna sound like
I
Yeah.
run it pretty high.
yeah. So it's just
I definitely want to get those really as good as we can
Yeah,
today
we could
too,
probably
because
place them just make sure they're placed as well as we can.
They work. Because you were playing them another night.
Yeah.
I didn't know if
Right.
they worked or not.
So yeah, we'll do that now. Yeah, a lot of times, like you said, the people do pull down the pulpit mics, because what'll happen is if he's walking across, it'll be like
Yeah, it will. Exactly.
So best to just take him out and let him, like you've been doing on the lapel mic. So all right, cool. Well, we'll figure out the auxes now,
okay.
and
And there's nothing else on here that we need to know.
I mean, yeah. Well, let's do. We did go over the pre-fader level. This basically just makes it show up on your meters over here, so you can see how loud a certain mic is, and the reason it is pre-fader is so you can turn the fader down and still be able to see what's going on the
Okay.
meters.
Okay.
So these right here, these are returns. So that basically means it will probably get into that later, because that's more for like
Recording,
if there were effects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like delays and reverbs,
which we probably won't mess with.
or if there was sometimes you can there's subgroups like let me see. I'm still kind of getting familiar with all this. Oh, here's something. Okay, if you notice these auxes, they're already, the first two are pre-fader, the second two are post-fader. You can see post and pre. Now that means that, and this can, you gotta sometimes pay attention to this. So if the fader is down and you're adjusting something that's pre-fader, obviously, it will still be adjusting it even though this fader's down. So like if she's if he's got say he's just sitting in the front pew or whatever, and you've got his lapel turned down, if this knob is still up, it'll still be going to her mix, to her aux mix, because it's pre-fader. So, and there's no switch on it, so if you wanted one post-fader, you would just have to use 3 or 4. So it's probably more detailed than what y'all ever have to experience, but just in case, it's good to know why something's
Absolutely.
happening. So yeah, let's get the aux